Listen, y'all been in my inbox asking when I'm coming back? Well, guess what? I'm back. Landlord and Tenant Talk Uncensored is now live every Monday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my YouTube channel, my Facebook page, as well as TikTok. So grab your pencil, your paper, and your sippy cup, because I'm spilling the tea and nothing is off limits. We're talking about security deposits, inspections, housing programs, bad tenants, slum landlords, late rent, and yeah, we're talking about retaliation. We're also talking about how to fix it all without losing your mind. I'm calling it like it is, no fluff, no fake advice, just the truth landlords and tenants need to hear. So whether you own the building or you pay to stay in it, this weekly live is for you. Hello, everybody. Happy Marvelous Monday. Thank you so much for tuning in live. I see that I'm live on YouTube. I am live on LinkedIn, and I'm live on Facebook. Thank you so much. Today's discussion is centered around DC landlords. If you are in other jurisdictions, most of what I'm sharing today will not be applicable for you or to you unless you own or you manage property in the District of Columbia. So my segment today is all about DC landlords waking up and taking action. Thank you so much for those of you who have tuned in from that YouTube channel. I sent an email out a little earlier today about something that's really pressing in the District of Columbia. I received an email from a landlord. Thank you so much, Ronnie, for sending that email. And I wanted to talk today about a very urgent matter. Okay, so here's what I do want you to know as we're talking about DC landlords waking up and taking action. Listen, this Wednesday, DC Council will cast the final vote on the DC Rental Act. Now, here is what some may not realize. If passed, this legislation could completely transform DC housing laws, and not in a way that is beneficial for small landlords. So I wanted to make sure that I share this information today on Monday, because there are some things that you can do if you're in DC that you can also share with others to take action this week. All right, so I wanted to make sure that I cover this in detail. If you have questions, comments, remarks, or observations, please drop it in the comment section. Let me know where you're tuned in from. I know that sometimes technology may not be our best friend, so if at any time my audio go out and you can't hear me clearly, please drop a comment in the comment section, all right? Because I have a lot to cover. I want to make sure that as a DC landlord that you hear this information first. If you have not already heard it, I want to make sure that if you are able to take action, that you promptly do so, all right? Information that I share on this channel is not legal advice. However, I do share the industry's best tips and practices, but today is all about actions that small landlords in the District of Columbia must take. All right, so let me get into it. So I'm going to pull my slides up on the screen so that you can follow me in this discussion, and I promise to share as much as I can. All right. All right. So we're talking about landlords waking up in DC and taking action. All right. But more importantly, I know that some people are saying, well, Karissa, why does it matter? Well, here is why it matters. Listen, let me go back to the pandemic. Since the eviction moratorium ended, landlords in the District of Columbia alone have lost over $1 billion in unpaid rent. That's a lot of money. And many landlords have not recovered. Many landlords, some of you are still carrying the debt from tenants who simply stopped paying. All right. That's the first reason it matters. Here's the second thing. When it comes to that tenant delinquency and arrears, the current delinquency rate is about 15 to 25%. So on average, that arrearage could be anywhere in the range of 18,000 up to 29,000 per household. We're talking about delinquent rent. These numbers represent our money that we may never recover. So let me repeat that range. That's 18,000 up to $29,000 of lost income. That's lost revenue. Here's a third reason why this is important. The court system, as it stands, many of us, we know this in DC. If you're a landlord, if you've had to go to court, if you've been around for an extended or a number of years, right, for an extended period of time, you already know that the court system is broken. Landlord and tenant cases, they are dragging on for 18 to 24 months. So that's 2 years in some cases. Now, I'm going to share a video because I think that when we see things, it helps us to put the problem into perspective. I'm going to share a court case that is currently playing out. This is a video that was shared. Let me come back on screen. Let me see if I can cue this video because I want you to see this video. Give me one moment as I try to get it up on the screen for us on today. Because I want you to see what it looks like, what happens for many people who are struggling as a landlord. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to cue a video and I don't see an option to do so. Give me one moment. All right, it is not allowing me to share my screen. Let me try something else because I want you to see this. Oh, that's a bummer. I really want you to see this video. It's a 2-minute video. I am going to, so in the description, I've shared a link for a video. It's a 3-minute video. And in that video, I promise you, it's very disturbing. It is of a landlord being threatened by a tenant with a baseball bat in their hand. And I'm really trying to figure out how to share this. Give me 1 second. But I did drop that link in the description so that you can take a look at it when you have a moment. I do apologize, guys. Yeah, it's not allowing me to share it for some reason. I'm not sure why, but if you have an opportunity, please watch that video. I was so disturbed when I watched the video because in the video, it clearly shows a landlord who's trying to do the right thing, a landlord who's trying to go in, make repairs. They've notified the tenant. So in the video, you'll see a husband and a wife team. They've notified the tenant that they're coming out to make repairs. They're coming out to conduct an inspection. And the tenant flat out refuses. As a matter of fact, in the video, you will see the tenant with a baseball bat in her hand. The landlord is forced to call the police. The landlord is asking the government for help. The government is not being accountable. The government is not stepping up to help small landlords in this type of situation. So although I'm not able to share my screen, please make sure that you go and watch it. But let me keep going on because I do have more information that I want to share today. So as I said, we know in Washington, D.C., we know that the system is broke. We're talking about the court system. We know that it's broke, right? But there are some things that you can do. There are some actions that you can take, right? And what we need are policy changes, and we have to demand it. And in order for that to happen, we need your voice. If you are a small landlord, we need your voice. It's not enough to just complain about things not being right. It's not enough to get into these landlord meetings, these landlord association meetings, or to go to the housing authority, or to have these one-off meetings here and there. That's good, but it's not enough, right? Because when it comes to city council, numbers, we have to show up in numbers, and our voice must be echoed. And so here are some things. I've identified the top 2 things when it comes to policy changes. Let me see if I can get that slide up on the screen for you. There are some policy changes that must take place. Mandatory hearings with a deadline of 60 days. That's a must, because cases should not sit for years. When it goes into the court system, when it goes before the judge, these cases are lingering and they're hanging around for far too long. The second policy change is mandatory protective orders. What does that mean? That means that if a tenant is in the court system, they should be responsible for paying their rent into the court registry while the litigation is pending. Oftentimes, what's happening is that these cases go before the judge, the tenants stop paying their rent, and we already know that no money coming in is bad business. It's bad for business, rather. And so a mandatory protective order is something that we should petition the court to change. But it has to go through city council. So these are the top 2 things that should play out. The top 2. All right, so here is how you can help. As I indicated, this hearing is taking place on Wednesday of this week. This is going to be the final vote on this rental act. And so we need as many landlords as possible to show up and to support. Here is what you can do. There's a rally and a press conference tomorrow, Tuesday, September the 16th. It's going to be at 12:30 p.m. We need you to be there. We need you to show up in numbers. It's going to be held at the district building located at 1350 Pennsylvania Avenue Northwest in Washington, D.C. Please tell your mama, tell your friend, tell Lottie Dottie and everybody. Any landlord, any small landlord in the District of Columbia, we need your presence tomorrow. Okay. And again, it starts at 12:30. So I would say show up around 12:15, just to make sure that we're all there. And guess what? I'm going to be there. So if you show up, you're going to see me. It's not enough to just talk about it. If you're going to talk the talk, walk the walk. Make sure that your words and your actions line up. And I know that some of you who are landlords, you have a great concern about this. I receive your emails. I receive your telephone calls. I receive your text messages. But guess what? It's not enough. We must do more. So we need you tomorrow. All right. Now, I do have some tips for you. So if you've been, hey, Lewis, thank you so much for tuning in. So if you've been tuned in, you've been on my YouTube channel, you've been on my LinkedIn page, you've been on my Facebook page, you know that I always give you tips. As a landlord, I always give tips. Now, every week when I'm live at 7:30 p.m., I typically give tips for landlords and tenants. Well, today's segment is all about landlords. I don't have anything for tenants on today because this is a pressing matter. And I need you to show up on tomorrow. But here's some tips for you as a landlord. Don't assume that someone else is going to fight for you. If you manage a rental property business in the District of Columbia, don't assume that somebody else is going to take on this fight for you. You have to get out there and you have to allow your voice to be heard. Listen, large developers, they have lobbyists, but small landlords, who do small landlords have? Absolutely nobody. Small landlords, we have us. All right. Here's my second tip for you as a landlord on today. One landlord story is every landlord story. If you've dealt with unpaid rent, if you've dealt with long delays, if you've dealt with unfair treatment, guess what? Your presence matters. You're not the only landlord. I promise you, you're not the first and you're not the last. So, one landlord story is every landlord story. And tomorrow, when you show up for that press conference at the district building at 12:30 p.m., bring a colleague, bring a friend, tell Lottie Dottie and everybody, because numbers matter and we need bodies in the room and we need your voices in the air. That's the urgency of this matter, because it is so important that as a small landlord, you understand that the laws that are being passed, the things that are taking place, it can change if you want change. But how does city council know if you want change? If you're not showing up to these meetings, if you're not showing up to protests. So I'm urging you, please make sure tomorrow that you show up. It's going to start at 12:30. There will be a press conference. And another tip I'm going to give you is please be prepared to speak. Okay, meet us tomorrow, 1350 Pennsylvania Avenue. All right. If you have questions, if you have comments, remarks, or observations, you can throw it in the comment section. If you feel like you need some clarity before showing up tomorrow, you can email me. My email address, let me see if I can pull that up on the screen, is going to be info@landlordlife.com. info@landlordlife.com. Also, I want to make sure that those of you who are not aware, last week I talked a little bit about security deposits. I recognize that at some point the audio went out, but I want to make sure that you are aware that there is an in-person workshop, AI for Landlords in-person workshop this Saturday, September the 20th. With me, I'm going to give you all the tools that as a landlord you can use to help automate those tasks that you're struggling with to increase your profit, to scale your rental property business. We are in the day and the age of which technology is changing how we conduct our business. Okay, so please register today. It is this Saturday, AI for Landlords workshop. You can scan that QR code that's on the screen there. You can also, we'll pull up another slide. You can also go to the website to register, and ultimately, we have to look out for each other as small landlords. Okay, if you have not already subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so. You can find me there at Landlord Life. I recognize that some of you are on Facebook, some of you are on LinkedIn. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you'll be the first to know when I am live and when I'm online. Okay, there you can find me, Landlord Life. You can go back and you can watch some of the replays from prior weeks. And again, tomorrow, the urgency of this message, this segment today, is all about DC landlords waking up and taking action, because I promise you don't want to fall asleep behind the wheel. So this is how critical it is. And I hope to see you tomorrow. Like I said, I will be there because it's just that urgent. All right. So that's what I wanted to share today. I talked about the reason we need to rally together. And this will, as a matter of fact, if you received an email from me on today, I sent you a link to the report that has been released. by SMOA, which is the Small Multifamily Owners Association here in the District of Columbia. And that's led by a gentleman by the name of Dean Hunter. He's leading that pack. He's leading the way. He will also be there tomorrow. So listen, DC landlords, this is it. Wednesday's vote will set the future for housing in our city. I mean, we can either show up, be counted, and fight for fairness, or we could just sit back and let city council pass laws that make our lives harder. And again, the major developers, the big companies and corporations, they have lobbyists that's working on their behalf. But for small landlords, small housing providers, you are what you need. So this really is not just about policy. It's about our livelihoods. It's about our investments. It is about our ability to provide safe and affordable housing in this great city, the District of Columbia. All right, so hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. Don't just watch history, be part of it, right? Show up in numbers. Like I said, tell Lottie, Dottie, and everybody. So that's what I wanted to share today. I hope that I'll see some of you tomorrow. If not, please make sure that you join me every Monday right here on my platform. And I'm live 7:30 p.m. Eastern time every week. All right, I see a comment that just came in from my YouTube channel. Let me get that up. Just watched the case where a tenant owed over $200,000 in rent and the court gave him a continuance. How does that make any sense? The system is broken. Absolutely. Absolutely. $200,000. That is absurd. And that's what's happening, which is why I'm encouraging as many landlords as possible, especially in the District of Columbia, show up tomorrow because we need your voice. All right. We can't keep, let me put this back up on the screen because that is just retarded. That amount is just ridiculous. When I say retarded, I don't understand for the life of me how, especially in situations where the tenants are at fault, it's retarded that things are happening that negatively impact landlords. I mean, first of all, who in their right mind would think that it's okay for a landlord to be in business, doing the right thing, getting the wrong results, not getting rent money, right? The bills have to be paid. Maintenance repairs have to be completed. There's a cost for running a rental business. And so things must change. It's not even a thing that things should change. Things must change because small landlords, small housing providers will be left behind. And that is the sad and the raw truth. So that's, I mean, in a nutshell, that's really what it boils down to. How bad do you want it? How bad do you want to succeed? Now, I know that I have colleagues, I have friends who are offloading. They are getting rid of their rental property in the District of Columbia. Why? Because DC, as it stands, has been a bad partner for many small landlords. They just can't afford it. Small landlords in the District of Columbia have been getting a raw deal. And who's standing up for them? That's how important tomorrow is. Let me pull that slide back up for those of you who are tuned in. You're just joining me. There is a press conference tomorrow. It's a rally and a press conference tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. It's at the District Building, which is located at 1350 Pennsylvania Avenue Northwest. I will be there. If you've never met me before, please make sure that you come. You hug my neck. I want to see you in person. Many of you I've met just in dealings and working with you over the years in various capacities, whether me serving on the board or working at the housing agencies or just being out in the community. If I've never met you, please make sure that you come and hug my neck, come and speak to me tomorrow. But I will definitely be there because that's how important this is. All right, so that is it. My time is up, and I absolutely thank you for yours. If you're just tuning in, please go and watch the replay from the beginning. There is a link in the description of this segment here. There's a video that I do want you to watch. I apologize. I was not able to pull it up and share my screen, but please watch that video. It is a very disturbing video of a landlord that is being threatened by a tenant. And that tenant could have done much harm because she did have a bat in her hand. Now, that's just one story. There are many, many stories. There are a lot of things that have taken place over the years. But because the system is broken, the court system is broken, a lot of this foolishness and nonsense has been allowed to happen for far too long. Now, I am not saying or suggesting that all tenants are bad. That's far from the truth. What I am saying is that for those outliers, those bad seeds that are absolutely bad tenants, right? They're just like rotten fruit. The system should be in favor, not just for the tenants, but for the landlords to take action. So if a tenant threatens the landlord or the owner, some action should be taken. If tenants are not paying their rent, tenants should not be allowed to stay in the property where there is no rent payment coming in. Like the scales are significantly imbalanced for many. And so that's what the press conference and the rally is about tomorrow, because we are trying to make sure that City Council at least hear our voice and understand the urgency of hearing what we're putting out. Don't just talk the talk, but walk the walk. Don't just complain. If you're going to complain, keep it. But if you're serious about taking action, if you're serious about changing the way that we do business in the District of Columbia as a small landlord, as small housing providers, then show up. All right. So that's what I wanted to share today. Thank you so much for tuning in. And thank you for those of you who are watching the replay. So next week is going to be about the security deposit. I'm going to go back to that. And also, this is just a reminder that there is a workshop this Saturday, AI for Landlord workshop. If you're interested, please scan that QR code, go to the website, register today. We did have 2 dates. We're now down to Saturday only at 10 a.m. And it's in person. When you register, you'll get all of your information. You will see me there at the workshop. I will be one of the facilitators at the workshop. All right, so I look forward to some of you I'll see tomorrow, and the rest I'll see you next week right here, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time with me, Karissa, the landlord and tenant professional. I'm going to say bye for now.